Alrighty, boys. Okay, so Toxic Rain will be my league starter. I have already redone the entire tree, at least the leveling side of it, and what I would like to move into Endgame. So, as is tradition for my builds, there will be no fluff, so we're going to go into the configurations. That is 4 pods, not 5. 15 wither stacks, we're using a wither totem. We do have Onslaught because it's part of the Raider Ascendancy, and Frenzy charges. No extras, that is Cyrus. Okay, so that's the first part. We're going to go over the gear real quick, just to make sure you can, clearly see what we're rocking here. That is res and life. Res, life, and a minus mana cost. I'm not really going to play a big deal on that. You can just get life and res if you really wanted to. That is a +1 and crafted life again. We got usual slink boots, movement speed, crafted life, just res rolls. Chaos roll, attack speed, life. You can swap up the combo if you want. You can get life and then get attack speed. Doesn't really matter. That is a Cherubim's usual deal. It's very, very cheap at league start. I've 6-linked these things a few times now. Devoto's Devotion, not a single thing special about it. Same deal, just 3 mods, all you need. A Quill Rain, because yet again, I'll always show you guys this, but a +3 is around about the same damage as a Quill Rain. The difference is the Quill Rain is significantly faster, it ramps quicker, and it clears better. So it's basically just like, this is 1 alch. Trying to get yourself a +3 is at a minimum, I'm just going to say 20C, also not really doable unless you craft it yourself, besides the point. So, gear is not that OP. We're going to quickly go over the defenses. That evasion rating, right, probably thinking is only held up by Flask. Same thing with the suppression rate. We'll turn it all off. 100% suppression rate and at least 62 evasion. You are not getting better anywhere else in the game. You've seen our crappy life pools we have. 4,500 life. Despite only being level 84 up here, about as legit as it gets. So this is the new tree. Could go through all the nuance of it, and maybe I will when I show you how we're actually leveling it. But as you can see, Toxic Rain is the only thing I'm going to actually say you have to spend money on here. So there's no jewels on the build. Just get a 21. There's no 2020s. There's nothing else here. So see this? Your Malevolence Aura is not even a 20%. Immortal Cores already set up. There's no extra quality on absolutely anything with this build. You can go over the POB yourself. As you guys know, I like to make them clean. This will tell you what to pick up and when to pick it up. So in Act 1, you're going to start with Caustic Arrow. You're going to get a Mirage Archer and Avoid Manipulation. You're going to get a Withering Step and a Dash. You're going to get a Puncture purely for Brutus, and then you pretty much just get rid of it. By Act 2 or level 12, you're going to go get yourself a Toxic Rain. At Act 1, by the way, so it's at the end of Act 1 you get this thing. Then you're going to put in your Mirage Archer. You swap out your Vicious you swap out Void Manipulation for Vicious Proj. It's got more damage at the start. And you add a Skitterbots to the build. You can also use a Clarity. I still haven't decided whether I want to do this or not, but beside the point. You can pick up your 4-link in Act 4. Then you're going to put the Void Manipulation back on. In Act 3. Also, you could do Efficacy, which is actually better. The Efficacy is more damage, but the problem with it is that you don't have the Int while you're leveling, so I just keep this pretty much the whole way through. It's not that much of a damage difference. Get a Wither Totem set up, so you're going to drop your Withering Step or whatever. You're going to swap to Malevolence, because that's obviously more damage. So Malevolence plus Skitterbots for the longest time. You're also going to be manually casting your Despair. I reckon save this till about Act 8, but then you can swap to Grace. If you're dying a lot earlier, you can swap to this thing. Trouble is, I get this thing and keep it on the build through using a trick further down, which I'll show you guys in a second. So basically, that's your gearing. By the time you're in Act 4, if you have all this set up, you're pretty much just running to the end of the campaign, because not much changes unless you get more links. You got your endgame set up here, so obviously you get a 6th link. Going to be Malevolence and Grace, so we're dropping Skitterbots entirely. You swap to an Immortal Core, you could maybe use that earlier on. I wouldn't even recommend it, really. You get a full Wither Totem setup going on, not max level. You use Dash with Second Wind. I still reckon I might be swapping this out for Flame Dash later, because honestly, Dash is super unimpressive now, and I've got enough int just to run Flame Dash, so I may just swap that. You're still going to be manually casting Despair, and that's because of the changes to the build. So basically, we're dropping Profane Proxy, and we're just going to manually cast Despair, because I don't really need it while I'm mapping. I pretty much only use it on bosses, and Curse Uptime is fine. I just think that, like, as much as I like the Profane Proxy, and I really like the extra damage, I'll just manually cast it. It's not a big deal. Alright, so, that's all that explained. Now I'm going to go over the tree and sort of what you can expect while you're leveling. As you can see, even without Flask, we are still incredibly strong. And you know, like I said, you can go over this all yourself, but we actually have every defense that we're even able to get here. Worth mentioning, by the way, guys, not a single piece of evasion rolled on any gear. I actually take a shitload on the tree, which is how we got so much evasion. So if you had evasion rolls on top of this, it would be even better. But, you know, yet again, this is just budget gear, budget league starter. It's about 2 mil damage, legitimately. You know, at least when you're a single target anyway. And, you know, it's whatever. So basically, just your usual damage nodes, because all you need at the start is damage. Life is extremely ineffective when your HP pool is like 2%. You're going to come out here, and the first thing you're going to grab in Bow Mastery is movement speed and chance to gain phasing or kill. 20% is nuts. That's basically 1 every 5 you kill, you will get a movement speed boost for 4 seconds. This is really going to help you make up for what we lost in basically Smoke Mine dying. And you pretty much, you grab this damage node anyway. So I grab this almost immediately, just to get the movement speed boost to help me through the campaign. And then obviously this is pure ridiculous damage to get these nodes early. And now that they make us move up an extra 1 to get our Chaos node, it's kind of like a no-brainer just to grab this extra attack speed. Basically, that's why we do it. Then we come out here, we grab more attack speed to sort of start making us move a bit quicker and really get the use out of the Bow Mastery. We're going to grab some extra life already, because Lord knows we're in a bit of a weird spot here where, you know, there's no dodge layer anymore, so we're just going to have to be a better player ourselves. But it's not all as bad as it looks. Like, I reckon this will be much smoother during the early game. It's only when we get to, like, Act 4 that I really want to start ramping it up. But you'll actually see that we have quite a lot of life on this. Act 4 comes, we actually grab a bunch of life. We're getting life on kill now. This thing here now gives us recover life on kill as well, so our sustain is going to be fantastic, except for on bosses, obviously. A lot of attack speed, a lot of generic nodes here, and we've got the flat 50 life, which is huge while you're leveling. And all the attack speed we're going to need to make this thing pretty quick. Basically, we just come up here, we get a bit more damage. We finish off these nodes, we get a bunch more life. This is actually a very life-intensive trees, by the way. Usual deal, we're just going for damage as quick as possible. We grab our damage, we come down here. At this point, we've unlocked our next ascendancy. So if you didn't see it before, sorry, around I think it's Act 3, you get Onslaught. Movement speed and attack speed, consistent and permanent, is way more important than the occasional frenzy charge. So long story short, yeah, we don't worry about that till about Act 6. So yeah, once we hit Act 7, you're going to want to take the frenzy charge, because still all we really care about is damage. We don't have enough evasion, and we don't have enough points available to really get the most amount of benefit of spell suppression yet. So I don't worry about it until way later. This is why I told you guys we don't actually use Grace until way later. The campaign is pretty soft and gentle as far as like damage coming at you until way later. You're still definitely going to be dying, you know, the better the player, the better this is, but damage is your main priority. I'm giving us life because we just don't have the option of damage. Like, we pretty much got every damage node we can get outside of coming all the way over here. And coming all the way over here for the skill effect duration is also just not optimal. And for anyone that doesn't know, Thread of Hope has been kind of nerfed. It's fine. It's not a big deal. I'm just probably not going to use it in the final tree anymore. I'll have a look at it later. Alright. So, by Act 8, then you're going to do what I said, which is when we're probably going to swap into Grace, because at this point you should have a high enough mana pool that having 10% mana isn't that bad. You get the Grace reservation, and that gives you 10% unreserved mana, which is usually enough to get a couple of casts, and obviously at this point you've got quite a fast Mirage Archer, and you should have, you know, hopefully a mana pot or something around this time. We'll see how your damage looks here, but this is pretty much what I do, and I don't use it till much later when I've actually got some evasion nodes, when I've actually got the frenzy charges, when I got so much damage that this is going to be in less of a bad spot. If you do this early, you're probably going to struggle a little bit, but that's okay. Don't worry about that later. Act 9 should be, you know, pretty much what we're doing here is we're just going to go grab more life. Act 10, we don't quite make it here, but we grab some more life nodes. We've got 10% maximum recovery. We have 134% and not a single jewel, no clusters, no nothing. So this is purely the tree here. And then obviously I recommend your early game, you get your skill effect duration, which is a little bit late. You get some extra evasion. You've got, you know, 2 auras, basically just Malevolence and Grace at this point. This is still legitimately 2 mil worth of damage. So we used to have, I think, 2.5, 2.7. So we had to lower some damage. We've got about, I want to say 1,000 more HP, but we have a permanent layer, and always 100% spell suppression because we are going to probably need it. Obviously, spell suppression is not as good as spell dodge. So, you know, we are going to be taking hits. We are going to have a life flask. Typical setup here. So, ultra budget gear, 2 mil damage. Outside of, like, you know, I even lowered what the amulet does. Oh, I should corrupt this, by the way. I'm actually going to do this live on stream before I release this to you. Anoint corruption. Because it's crazy cheap at the start, and it's actually a massive chunk of damage. Save. Now we got 2.25 or whatever. And obviously, you could tweak your gear. You could get an extra chaos roll here. But I want to show you the absolute bare minimum is about 2.2 mil damage. That'll smash T16 maps at very minimal investment. Life and res. So we're not actually res capped. I just use generic ones here to show you how close you're going to get with just literally the first roll. Just get a slightly better belt. Just get like higher res on the belt. You know what I mean? Or just get some better rolls. These are really average rolls on absolutely everything. And it's the bare minimum. So as far as, you know, 4.5k life goes, you can get probably 5k. You can, you know, without a single evasion roll already at 72%, you could probably get 75. I've already got 100% spell suppression at all times, including when the flask are down. So even if the flask are down, I made sure I had 100% spell suppression. Because obviously, spell suppression, I'm worried it's not even going to function, even if it was, because I'm still taking the hit. Taking the hit is going to be the biggest issue here, not actually anything else. So, I think I got a pretty good tree. This should pretty much cover everything you need to know for leveling, aside from, you know, whatever you've learnt yourself. But not a big damage drop off. We lost like maybe 500k off the build. I put about an extra, I just want to say 500 life on the build. And then obviously as far as evasion goes and defenses, I've done I think I did a really good job of getting this evasion thing to a very, very respectable level on practically 0 gear. Like literally 0 gear. We got a bunch of movement speed too, by the way. So 166 movement speed. I don't think you're going to get a better league starter than this. I think considering I pumped this out in a couple of hours, this is pretty much as good as it gets, guys. So this will be my league starter. Yet again, we're doing TR Raider. Initially, I was a little bit worried about the, obviously, you know, the nerfs to, you know, dodge and stuff like that. I'm not saying this is even remotely close to better than dodge plus evasion plus blind or anything like that. But at the sacrifice of a very respectable amount of damage, we've actually managed to get something somewhat workable. I still think this will be worse than before, but I also still think I did, you know, much better job preparing on short notice. So, guys, hopefully your league start this. The strategy is going to be basically breach farming. I might have to get some extra work going on, but we've got a big league ahead of us, guys. Hopefully, yeah, you guys like this. It's a clean, nice POB. In the notes, it will tell you, you know, when to go get your trials so you don't forget them, and where they are, when to go do your labs. I'm going to start playing around with colors and the amount of information here. I may write some additional notes and stuff like that, so like what colors you're looking for in what act. So obviously, you know, 3 green, and I'll actually use this thing. By the way, they improved this too. It's a shame because I did this all manually before. Different side story there. Anyway, long story short, guys, super clean POB. Probably about as good as you can make it on as much of a budget as you possibly can. Hopefully, you guys like it. Peace out. I'll catch you all later. Oh, by the way, I literally think, by the way, that Raider is going to be one of the strongest still. All right, peace out, guys. See ya.